Bienvenue au Musée maritime de l'Atlantique, situé à Halifax, en Nouvelle-Écosse. Je m'appelle Lily Lynch et je suis ici pour visiter l'exposition de William Hall. Cette année, la Journée de patrimoine en Nouvelle-Écosse célèbre William Hall, le premier Afro-Canadien et le premier Néo-Écossais à recevoir la Croix de Victoria. Le Dalmore Buddy Day Learning Institute a créé un livret pour célébrer la vie de William Hall. Ce livret a été distribué dans les écoles de Nouvelle-Écosse. Il y a quelques années, le DBDLI a également participé à un projet visant à mettre en lumière certains Canadiens noirs de l'Atlantique, dont William Hall. Regardez ce clip réalisé par l'acteur Jacob Sampson qui raconte l'histoire de William Hall.
The day before I left Canada to join the Navy, I stood right here on the Halifax docks and watched the ships enter and leave the harbor. An old man passing by could see my nervous energy. He stopped by and said to me, "Son, when you're from Nova Scotia, the sea already holds your stories. The waves of the ocean hold our entire history. There's no need to be nervous about your adventure at sea." My name is William Hall. I am the son of two strong, smart, spirited people. Two strong, smart, spirited people that happened to be slaves. Now, why were they slaves? Because their parents were. And their parents before them, and how did that cycle start? It's amazing what could happen because of one boat trip. And now I know what you're thinking as I stand before you today. You're thinking, William, you ain't no slave. That's because these two strong, smart, spirited people decided to steal away from their master. Steal away aboard a British naval ship. But their master found them. And he boarded that ship and demanded his property back. But the captain and crew of that ship, well, they took up a collection to buy my parents' freedom. You see, the captain said he needed the manpower. And then they sailed them here to Nova Scotia. And in 1829, in Hantsport, Nova Scotia, I was born a free man. And as soon as I was able, I began to sail. I sailed on fishing ships. I sailed on merchant ships. I sailed on American warships. And in 1852, I enlisted in the British Royal Navy. That same Navy that gave my parents their freedom. My first commission was aboard a boat called the HMS Rodney, a 2-deck, 90-gun battleship. Aboard the Rodney, I was made a part of the Naval Brigade. Now, the Naval Brigade's job was to unload each cannon off the ship, take them on land, and provide military artillery support for soldiers. We fought in the Crimea War, and I was highly decorated for my service by both the British and Turkish forces. Because of this, I was promoted and sent to the HMS Shannon as captain of the foretop. Now, the Shannon, she was on her way to China to quell tensions there. We were intercepted halfway and told that we needed to report to the fort of Lucknow in India. A mutiny had happened, and the rebels had taken over the fort and were laying siege to the surrounding area. We sailed there with all the speed the Shannon could muster, and when we landed, we unloaded each of the Shannon's 24-pound howitzers off the ship and took them by cart, by mule, by sheer manpower, 100 kilometers to the fort, fighting the entire way. When we arrived at the fort, the fighting was fierce, and we suffered extreme casualties almost immediately. We set up each of our guns and aimed them at a weak point in the fort's walls. We'd fire our guns and edge our guns a little closer. Fire and edge our guns a little closer. Men were falling all around me, until only me and my wounded lieutenant were left. Now, what normally takes at least 4 men to do, we had to do with 2. We loaded our gun, fired, and edged a little closer. Loaded our gun, fired, and still edged just a little closer until I could feel the hot shrapnel coming off the fort's wall. Just when it seemed like me and my lieutenant were lost, reinforcements came over the hill, and we breached the wall, taking back the fort. My lieutenant and my captain recommended that I be awarded the Victoria Cross, the British Navy's highest award for military bravery. 1858, it was awarded to me in a small ceremony aboard the Shannon. I stayed with the British Navy until 1876, where I retired and lived the rest of my days quietly in Hantsport, Nova Scotia. My Victoria Cross remained in England until 1947, when the Nova Scotia government and citizens made a push to have my medal returned home. And so now it lies here, in the Nova Scotia Maritime Museum, to remind all Nova Scotians that the sea holds our story. Ain't it amazing what can happen because of one boat trip?
Nous espérons que ce livret et vidéo de Jacob vous avez donné un meilleur aperçu de l'histoire, la vie et l'héroïsme de William Hall. Nous vous encourageons également à vous arrêter au Musée maritime de l'Atlantique pour en apprendre davantage sur William Hall et d'autres histoires de marins. Bonne journée du patrimoine!